Hi there, it's Anna McKinley here. Thank you so much for joining me. So what I would like to share with you this week is my theme for the week. And in line with my theme for the week, I have for you a special hack to help you completely shift gears and get more out of life. Sound good to you? So my theme for the week is actually about getting more out of life. This is something that I do in my life to actually help myself stay motivated and inspired and focused. Is I have a quote or a theme each week that becomes my theme, my focus for the week. It helps me to stay on track, stay motivated, stay inspired, and keep the momentum going. So this week, my theme is something that Clint Eastwood once said, which is what you get out of life is what you put into it. So that's probably a sentiment that you've heard before. Now, many people say that. You get out what you put in. Problem is that many of us interpret that in a way that just quite bluntly doesn't work. Most people, when they say you get out what you put in, is think about it in terms of effort. You got to put in lots of effort to get the result. Now, that's the slow and hard way to do it. And look, if it worked, the world would be a different place, right? How many people do you know who spend their lives working really hard and don't seem to be getting the results? Yeah, I bet you're thinking of a few right now. So what is it that's missing for those people? And if you feel that you're in that space, what is that missing piece? Well, I'm here to share that with you. And if you've been listening to any of my other videos, it's not going to come as a surprise. If we're putting in the effort, but from an emotional and mindset state that does not support the outcome, then we're always going to find ourselves banging up against that brick wall, right? In order for the effort to be effective, we must first be in a mindset and an emotional state of self-belief, of empowerment, of motivation and inspiration, okay, of confidence. We need to be in a positive space for our effort to be effective in getting us where we want to go. Right? And you can probably think of all sorts of examples where you did something, you put in the work, or you know someone who put in the work, but the self-belief was not there. The negative voice was chipping away at the confidence and sense of self-worth. They didn't really believe that the effort was going to lead to anything. The inner critic was going, what's the point doing this anyway? And guess what? That's the result that we get. If we talk ourselves out of effective effort, our effort is always going to be ineffective. So if you'd like to know the way around it, let's cut straight to the chase. Here's the thing. Before we get onto the effort treadmill, the magic ingredient is getting our mindset and emotional state right. I shared with you in a couple of videos last week some tips on that, particularly the PERMA model, which has come out of decades of research in the field of positive psychology. The PERMA model is a model for boosting our emotional and mental well-being. There are 5 factors that we can focus on: positive emotions, engagement, the quality of our relationships, a sense of meaning, and a sense of accomplishment. These boost our well-being and our emotional state. And what I want to share with you today is a simple hack that you can use to boost particularly the positive emotions dimension for you, so that you can feel in a positive emotional state before you get into and engage in whatever it is that's on your task list for the day, right? And that way you'll be much more effective. This is also going to improve the other areas for you as well. So what is this special hack? Well, it's called the Losada Line, or the Losada ratio, because it's based on research that Dr. Losada did along with Barbara Fredrickson, the 2 prominent positive psychologists. And they actually started by asking the question, what is it in thriving teams that makes them different from teams that aren't thriving in organizations? And after doing extensive research and getting in with teams, working alongside them and looking at what the teams who were thriving were doing that set them apart, what it actually boiled down to was feedback. The kind of feedback that people in thriving teams shared compared to everybody else. What was the difference? More positive feedback. It's that simple. more positive feedback. And to put some numbers around it, the baseline for a team to be not thriving, but also not on the negative side, we needed to have at least 3 times as much positive feedback for members of the team than negative. And that's just to get to the starting line. Teams that were defined as thriving have 5 times or more positive feedback compared to negative feedback. So that's a ratio of positive to negative of 5 to 1. Now, the interesting thing is that subsequent research has shown that the same research applies in relationships. You want to have a thriving, loving, stable, quality relationship with someone? 5 times as much positive feedback to that person as negative or neutral even. Right? The same ratio applies, 5 to 1. Doctors John and Judy Gottman have done a lot of work and research on that. And for ourselves, we have a relationship with ourselves, right? Most of us have an inner critic, an inner voice that's constantly giving us feedback. For us human beings, the default for that feedback is 2 times, in fact, just over 2 times as much negative as positive, right? So if we want to be in a positive emotional state, if we want to be more confident, if we want to be more effective in what we do, if we want to feel more motivated and inspired, if we want to have a greater sense of energy and belief in ourselves, and a greater sense of accomplishment, and to be blunt, if we want to have more joy and happiness in our lives, then that's the place to start. Let's shift that ratio. Let's consciously give ourselves more positive feedback. How? Many people ask, how do I do that? It's kind of like going to the gym and practicing a new muscle. It may feel a little bit uncomfortable at first, but if you commit yourself to trying this and practice it on a daily basis, you'll find it gets easier. And it is this simple. Catch yourself or pause from time to time during the day, from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep, and just check in with yourself at regular intervals. Ask yourself, what kind of feedback is my inner voice giving me in this moment? Is it negative or neutral, or is it positive feedback? And anytime your inner voice is giving you negative feedback or negative commentary, consciously go out and find something positive you can say to yourself. It does not need to be a big thing. It really does not. It can be something really, really little. It can be as simple as looking back over the last couple of hours and finding something, anything tiny, even just a few tiny things that you have done or that you have thought that you can give yourself positive feedback on. I smiled at that person in the street. I had the confidence to say hello to someone in the coffee line. I got out of bed this morning. It doesn't need to be big stuff, just positive things. Right? Little things you can appreciate yourself for. And the more we do this, the better we get at it and the more the momentum builds. Now, if you were to practice that simple hack just for 30 days, you will find that you have a noticeable shift in your outlook, in your energy, the way you show up, and how that flows through in terms of how effective you are in whatever effort you do put in towards your own goals. So have a play with it and let me know how you get on. And hey, look, I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts on this. The Losada ratio, you can apply this in your work, you can apply this with your teams, you can apply this in your relationships with your significant other, your children, family members, friends, etc. And you can apply this with yourself. Have some fun with it. Scroll down now, leave your comments and thoughts below, and I'll look forward to seeing you in my next video. Thanks again so much for joining me, and have a great week. Bye for now.